Ladies and gentlemen, what I want to show you are not the ready-made recipes to be used during the classes or the scenarios or the ideas. These are going to be examples of certain small pieces which will show you how one can use the simplest IT tools which change a teaching and learning process, which will change the lesson. I will refer to Howard Gardner twice, a person which should be familiar to people in Poland. He is dealing with these tools intensively. Let us start with the application of the simplest for activities calculator. So we are playing with children. They are calculating on a calculator. They are keying in the school, and we see nice numbers. We can talk about various issues. We can ask why is this result like that, and then we see this kind of result. But something strange shows up. Why is it so? If we let the children to play, they will arrive at the conclusion that there's only one number missing. Here we don't have 2 or 3 numbers. Depending on what we did before, how we conducted our class, they will quickly realize that this last digit can be find by written multiplication. We are returning to the algorithm but trying to understand it. And that's great. And now, without any problem, children would solve the next case. If we are short of the numbers, we are multiplying the 4 last digits, and with that we are happy. Is it the end? No. We take another example, and if we go like that, we are trying to find the result of the multiplication, but we returned to the original situation. Why we have such a strange result? Let the children think, where is it taken from? Using just a regular calculator. This is the first example which will help you to understand why is it so. The second is a little bit complicated, which can be a pretext to some searches. A regular calculator will calculate the square root, but the third degree root will not be calculated. We can ask the children, what will happen if we press twice the square root button? But it's not very likely that children will invent it in the class. But that can be a great starting point for some further searches, because the children will start thinking, how does it work? What is it? If we go down this path, what are we going to get? Why? How can one explain it? And believe me, that even a 6th grader can arrive at the solution if you let them be creative, if you let them make errors. But that's the beginning. And now we can ask a few questions depending whether we speak with the children from a secondary school or upper secondary school. Can one calculate not a square root, but a 6-degree root? Maybe having a spreadsheet, Pascal or other tools, we we can use a lot of possibilities depending on our needs. A simple task can become a starting point for a very wide exploration to find new areas depending on what are the competencies of the pupils. And now the favorite maturity exam task about trains. It's very typical. Some of you may remember the horror of this task when first you need to find the variables which we are looking for, then create an equation, and then to solve it. But what is first? Do you do first this solving the task or the equation? And that reminds me of a story about 7 birds sitting on the branch, and one of the pupils said that it was 5 birds, but the teacher says, no, you were supposed to create an equation. So sometimes a spreadsheet can help us very much to solve this task. Please see what the pupil did. Did he solve it? Did he use a proper strategy to solve it? Did he understand the structure of this task? Yes. In a headline, he put all the logical associations which were in this task. What the Excel did, Excel calculated, but what counts as the idea. He introduced this into this spreadsheet. If the headlines were wrong, then this task would not be solved successfully. Is it worthless? No, it is a great way to solve a task. What's more, it's a pretext to start talking whether we have only one such solutions or there are more of them. Well, some say, okay, he may have guessed, and there is nothing wrong in guessing, and trial and error method is also okay. And one more thing, another kind of activity. And the previous one was on the new method of solving certain questions. One more thing. Let me start my application. And I need help for that. I gave this task to my pupils, and they were supposed to use GeoGebra application. And what was interesting was the application to find a solution. This time it's an example how one can find a solution. Well, first they came up with a circle, then they mark the center, also simple. Then they drew the straight line, and with that all the simple things ended. Then they started to find other things. They marked a point, and they continued what you can do with the this straight line, which is perpendicular. If you move this straight line, it will get closer to the circle, and there is something here. And one can see that there are two solutions which are not obvious if you do solve it on the paper. This is complicated square equation. So how one can find this point? It should be perpendicular. Then okay, after a time, they see a parallel line, and they have a solution. Is it the end? No. And we can create a list of the steps, but this is not the end, because the teacher can do something else. A preparation such a presentation in GeoGebra and sending it to pupils takes only 10 seconds. And at home we give it to the pupils just watch this presentation and come up with as many tasks connected to this presentation. We are now entering the realm of creativity, and we see how great is the knowledge of a pupil. We are opening to this new situation. It would not be possible if it was not for the use of such tools. They created a new quality. They enabled the pupils to be active. They made us a bit different in our activities. And by the end of conclusion, I wanted to refer to Gardner again, who said a very important thing, important for all the teachers, not only math teachers. Let's try to cover as big a group of students, proposing them various methods and various forms of activity. If something didn't work with one pupil, well, you should change it, because repeating it is not a good idea. IT tools are opening quite a new field, but we have to realize that these tools have a different structure and different nature. They require different tasks and different exercises. What you said corresponds very well, that the role of a teacher changes when we use such applications, because thanks to these tools, a lot of things, especially small ones, based on algorithms, can be done by a pupil, and during the classes we can talk strategies. We can start to look for solutions to problems, and then a teacher becomes a moderator rather than a transformer of knowledge. There is only one if. If we transfer the traditional material to electronic world, it will not work. We are at the beginning of the road. We are just trying the media in Poland, but we have to realize that this is a great way. If we think in a different way and look for some other ways of activity, otherwise, just like on this picture, we'll be pretending only that everything is okay, and we'll be getting a student or pupil towards an exam.